everybody, it's Mr. Do-It-All. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team last year that went 3-13 and made a lot of big moves in the offseason through free agency. Obviously, in my opinion, building a team is done mostly through the draft, but Jacksonville tends to like to spend a lot of money into their free agents. And they had a pretty solid draft, drafting Leonard Fournette, running back out of LSU, who is actually probably going to give them a much better running game than something they've had over the last year since probably Maurice Jones-Drew was there. And they drafted an offensive tackle, Cam Robinson. That's one of their big needs, is offensive line. But looking at this team overall, on the defensive side of the ball, they got better. Obviously, if these guys play up to what they have played up to in the past, in most of these guys' careers, like Calais Campbell, Barry Church, A.J. Bouye, guys like that, can come in and start and be veteran leaders for this young Jacksonville defense. Obviously, they brought in Malik Jackson last year, and he played really well. And to pair him with Calais Campbell is a great move. They didn't really lose any big-time players in this past offseason. I mean, maybe Luke Jokel, I guess, a former first-round pick, and Julius Thomas. But Julius Thomas didn't really play well for Jacksonville. And they still have Jalen Ramsey, last year's first-round pick, with them. Probably the best corner on their team, obviously, and probably one of the best corners in the league, a young up-and-coming guy. But none of this will matter, obviously, with Blake Bortles as quarterback. Blake Bortles is a great fantasy quarterback. I've had him in fantasy football. He took me to a championship one year and won the championship for me. But as overall quarterback play, he's pretty bad. He takes forever to throw the ball, and Chad Henne had a chance to unseat him, but it's still going to be Blake Bortles. I mean, they have offensive weapons, drafting Leonard Fournette this past year, having Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. I just think that Blake Bortles needs to finally figure it out. This is like his third or fourth year, maybe his fifth year in the league, and he still hasn't figured it out, which is a huge problem. I do think having Leonard Fournette, though, I still think that they have, they brought in somebody last year, played for the Jets. I think they have Chris Ivory still, and they have him and Fournette together. That's a pretty good running back tandem. So on the offensive side of the ball, they have a lot of talent. It's just going to come down to Blake Bortles' play. On the defensive side of the ball, I think that this is an underrated group. Obviously, like I said, a lot of these guys need to play up to what they have in past season and in most of their careers, like Calais Campbell, Malik Jackson, Barry Church. Those guys, I do think that this is a very talented group on the defensive side of the ball. I do believe that they are running a 4-3. So, looking at this team, it's not the most talented team, but they play in a bad division. So, I mean, they have a chance. Obviously, last year they finished 3-13. I thought they would be better than 3-13. I thought they might have win 8-8 maybe. But yeah, I mean, playing in Jacksonville is not a high free agency place to play, but they do spend their money on their free agents, so trying to get paid, go to Jacksonville. Now, looking at their schedule here, this is going to be they play the, looks like the NFC West and the AFC North. Yeah, NFC West and the AFC North, and their two-place games are going to be the Chargers and the Jets. Okay, so looking at their schedule here, let's go ahead and go over it for a little bit. Starting the season off against Houston, I think that's a loss. I think Houston and Tennessee are going to be the two best teams in this division. That's not saying much, though. Then they go to Tennessee. No, then they play Tennessee in Jacksonville. That's an L. Versus Baltimore, that's an L. And then they play the Jets in New York. I think that they'll win that game. They'll lose to Pittsburgh. Versus the Rams. I think the Rams are better than the Jags right now, just because I just don't understand Blake Bortles. I think that game has a chance to be a defensive matchup. And then they got at Indianapolis. I think that's a win for them. The Rams game will leave it as a toss-up, but then at Indianapolis, that's a W. So they should be maybe 3-4, 2-5 going into their bye week. When they come back from their bye week versus Cincinnati, that's probably an L. Versus the Chargers, I think the Chargers are a very underrated team. Solid offensively, that's an L. At Cleveland, I think Cleveland's better than Jacksonville, that's an L. At Arizona, that's an L. Versus Indianapolis, I think Andrew Luck could be back by then, but if the Indianapolis Colts season is in doubt, I wouldn't bother playing him. So that's a toss-up. Versus Seattle, that's an L. Versus Houston, that's an L. At the Niners, I think they can beat the Niners. At Tennessee, that's an L. So looking at this team, I can see them going 5-11, high as 6-10, but as low as 3-13 again. Obviously, this team is not very talented, so that's in my opinion. I'm sorry, Jags fans. That's just what I see out of your team. That's just about do it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm out.